Hey everyone, welcome to We'd Rather Be Reading. I'm Jerrica.
And I am Leah. How are you today?
I am good today. Yesterday, I was an emotional mess, Leah. You would have laughed and you would have been like, yeah, normal.
I don't laugh at emotional messes. What kind of monster?
No, but I'm an emotional mess from hormones from pregnancy, not from...
You make me sound like a heartless person.
No,
like,
not laugh like that.
Laughing like I'm gonna laugh at them.
No, but laughing like, haha, I know exactly what you mean.
Fair enough,
I do this every day. I cried at my kids' dentist appointment. I cried when I brought them to school. I cried at lunchtime.
Was there a reason for the crying or just like hormones?
It was just hormones. There was no background.
I have this thing since I was pregnant. I mean, I haven't been pregnant for years and years and years now because my babies are big kids now. Mm-hmm. But ever since I've been pregnant, I will cry anytime I hear a siren. So if I hear like an ambulance or a police car or a fire truck go by and the sirens are, it will make me cry. And this will always happen without fail. Like it cannot help it.
Thank the dear Lord that you do not live in like New York or Toronto.
I mean, I lived in Montreal for like the longest time. But I think for me, because I don't know why. I mean, I had to take the ambulance once with my daughter when she had a febrile seizure, which was scary as shit when we were in Canada. Which is fun now to talk about. But back then, I had to call 911. And obviously being in Canada, the firefighters are first responders. So I had like 7 firefighters in my house with my teeny tiny little baby who had passed out and like who's lost consciousness because she had febrile seizures. And I'm like freaking out. I was so happy Willem, my older kid, was at daycare that day. And I was like freaking out. And there's all these firefighters in my house and there's nothing they can do because, she's okay. She just needs to be taken to the hospital kind of thing. And then the ambulance came and we had to go by ambulance. And then they were telling me that the protocol is that depending on how fast the heart rate is, that's if they have to use the sirens and the flashing lights and stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's based off of adults and not off of teeny tiny babies. Mm. So they had to go with like the flashing lights and the sirens and we were like running red lights and going to the hospital. And then when we get there, they were like, she's like waking up and she's all like, yeah, this is great. Much fun. You know?
Like I swear she was unconscious 1 minute ago.
Oh, but I mean, they saw that she was unconscious. She was unconscious when the ambulance got there. Mm. She was just kind of waking up and she never had it again. But I think I was also super, super, super paranoid. So anytime, like even a hint of a fever, I'd be like, here, take the medicine. We don't like fevers. Go away, you know. But this happened even before then, so I don't think it's even to do with that story. I think it's just I guess it's like empathy or something. Mm. Like I'm like, someone is hurt. This means that other people are upset that someone is hurt, and that's why I cry. Like I get like at this point someone is in a lot of like
feeling someone else's like pain.
Yeah, I'm very empathetic towards other people's pain. And like I used to work in a school and you deal with like students fainting or whatever and you have to call the ambulance. And I mean, I'm very good in these situations. Like I will keep doing stuff, but I will cry the whole time. Oh. So I'm like, tears will just stream down, but I will keep going and I will make sure the person's okay and I will do everything I need to do, but I cannot control the tears. Like they would just come.
That's super sweet.
It's really annoying because I'd be like swiping them away, going like, "We need to go and do stuff." No, you're not allowed to be here. You know, whatever I need to say. You know, but whatever. That's my pregnant, and they're still in there. I mean, it's like 11 years since I was pregnant soon, so these hormones are
still there.
They're still there.
Okay, well, good thing to look forward to then.
Well, if you didn't get it with your first two, I'm sure you won't get it now. But
no, but now I am emotional for no reason. Like my cleaning lady came over yesterday, and while I love her, like we don't have that relationship where we cry on each other's shoulders. And she's like, I can feel your energy is low today. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I can't stop crying. Johan's an ass. And she just starts laughing. Yeah. It's like, yeah. And then he's like, you know, this is normal. She's going to think I'm not an ass in just 30 minutes. Just let's wait it out.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But I mean, hormones, the pregnancy messes with your head. Oh my God, that was such a mess when I was pregnant. Anyways.
So the joys.
I mean, you get a baby at the end. That's literally like the great part of pregnancy is that at the end of it, you will have a baby in your arms. But I mean, apart from that, I hated being pregnant. I hated.
You did?
Oh God, I hated all of it. I was nauseous for like 7 out of 9 months and like throwing up to the point where I would end up in the hospital. With Willem, they gave me this medication that would stop the nausea, and every time I tried to wean myself off it, I'd end up in the hospital because I could not keep anything down.
Oh no!
So I was just horrendously sick the whole time, and I had such issues with my back. I had this back pain that was
because
just on
he was
one
so far
side,
your back,
and
right?
it was just I don't know, like it was painful. And then I was all emotions and hormones and awfulness. And I mean, we talked about this last week. I don't deal very well with like the mood swing things and the dips. And it was a roller coaster. I mean, luckily my body seems to be made for having babies. So everything went really well when it came to like actually carrying the baby and delivery and all of that stuff. And the breastfeeding, all of that was fine. But the hormones... It was rough.
It's a roller coaster.
It was very rough.
I know. I thought like with my third, I will be able to handle this a little bit more stably. But the hormones yesterday made me not myself. Let's just say that.
Or yourself extra.
I know. Like, but then like the 2000. Day went on. 2,000 times, Jerrica.
Yeah.
Day went on, and then I taught a couple of yoga classes, and then at the end, I was like back to myself, went home, made dinner all peppy and stuff, and Johan is like, well, that was it, day.
Yeah, up and down and all around.
Well, we finished the book of the week, and then we actually both read the sequel too, because it was so
oh my God, yes,
good.
So good. I read the sequel in like a day and a half.
It was like, how funny is it that the covers are just so bad.
So bad.
That I would never ever choose to read this book if I had based it on my judgment of the cover. And then the inside of the book is like golden. So I feel like this might be a trick.
Yeah.
Like it might be like some sort of writer's prank to be like, haha, I have one of the best fantasy novels you'll ever read.
You will never choose it because I'll put a bad cover on it. No, it feels like a bad trick in my case.
In marketing cases.
It reminded me a lot of, we talked about it while we were reading it, Mary E. Pearson's The Dance of Thieves and the Bow piece. It was very much that feel, and I love
I love those too. But you love them.
I love those books. I still think of Cassie and Jade.
I know,
and I remember their names, which is whoa.
Yes,
I know. Yeah, it's quite a thing. But I took a fair amount of notes on this book, actually. And I tried to tie them to chapters. So we read until chapter 3, and then we did the prediction. And
in chapter 3, she ended up coming to the land where she was going to marry the king of Ithacana.
Yeah. And I predicted that he wasn't going to be as awful as she believed it was going to be. And I'm like, already in chapter 4, I feel like my prediction is good. This is my first comment.
I have one note other than the beginning notes in the whole book.
Oh, you did a Leah style notes.
I did Leah notes.
Awesome. I like him. I don't like her.
It was all in my head. I have only written down one note.
Well,
it's completely irrelevant.
I felt that my prediction was good because they do the wedding, and at the wedding they first do the Maridrinian vows, which is like submit to your husband, give him sons, and you're gonna wear this braid in your this ribbon in your hair for like a year, and then they take over the Ithacanas and they slice her hand and they slice his hand and they mix their blood, and it's all about fighting at each other's sides and being loyal and monogamous, worshipping only each other's bodies and defending each other to death, and it's like so much better. If I were to get married and they were like, now you need to submit to your husband, I'd be like, where's the exit? Because I did not,
this
I don't
is not
want
the
this,
relationship.
I don't like this. Submit,
I was
what
not
the frick?
told that this was a dom-sub relationship.
So I feel like just their view of women is better. They're not submitting, they're equals, they fight together. And then we go to Aaron, the king of Ithacana's point of view. So we get his point of view. And he has a twin, a sister who's just a couple of minutes younger than him. And it turns out that even like the succession order with the monarchy in Ithacana is not based on the oldest male, it's just based on the oldest child. So it turns out that the previous king of Ithacana, which they all hated, and Maridrina, was actually not the ruler. It was the queen who was the ruler. She was the one who was of royal blood. And he says basically like Ithacana needs a queen who's a warrior, a woman who'd fight to the death for her people, a woman who's cunning and ruthless, and not because she wanted to be, but because the country needed her to be, a woman who's a challenge to him every day, challenging him every day for the rest of his life, a woman Ithacana would respect. And he's sure that Lara is not this person, but frickin' she is.
She's
That's
exactly
like she is exactly what Ithacana needs, and he basically just described her because this is her. And then keep on reading, get worse at my note taking here because I don't tie them to chapters anymore. But about halfway through, a little bit more than half, I am very frustrated with this book.
Oh no!
Yeah, because Aaron is nothing but good to Lara. And Lara is realizing that she's been wrong about so much. And still she's like, I've been wrong. I've been told lies. I'm still going to fuck him over and screw this whole country. And I'm still going to keep going with this
No, but she didn't accept it that everything was a lie yet. She like went through a long period of time to like change away from all of them.
Which is probably more realistic, because if she would have been a turncoat like this, I would have probably hated her. Would have been like,
all
what?
Of the brainwashing.
You just changed like that? That's not okay. But now she's all like, I'm still going to betray him. And she's going to her dick of a father. He's a dick, her father. He basically says, if you fail, I will kill you if you succeed.
He has
I'm not going to kill you. You can come back.
50 wives.
50 wives, yeah. And he keeps like flushing them out too when he gets bored of them and getting new ones in.
Good lord.
And then Aaron gets so annoyed with her at one point that he just puts her on a boat and takes her back to Maridrina and like hides her as a deckhand boy, whatever.
That.
And then she gets to meet his ex-lover, which she does not like that. I did not like that either. I'm like, this woman should not be offering to sit on his lap. Who is she?
I know.
I was very pissed off about that.
Were you? I was actually like pissed when she was like, he's a really good man. It's like, fuck you telling me he's a good man. Like, how well do you know him? And you knew he was the king the whole time and you said nothing?
You come
what are you?
Exactly. Like he comes and you're just like, yeah, come sleep in my bed.
Is she a hooker? No, she was like a barmaid, right?
Yeah, she's a spy.
She's a spy too. Yeah.
But anyways, so he takes her to Maridrina and he shows her that she's been lied to the whole time, and then she changes her mind, and then they get spotted and as they leave, and then they come back, and this is where she decides she's not going to betray him anymore. So she goes to the trouble of like destroying her plot, because she did write on the back of all of his official correspondence in secret, invisible ink, like a full-on plan to invade Ithacana. And then she tries to destroy all of this, not realizing that he has like the secret compartment where he keeps like started letters.
She tells him nothing that's honest. Like
I feel like if they were to talk to each other, a lot of this shit would not have happened.
Exactly. And he wouldn't have felt betrayed like a million times.
And she betrays him a million times too. It's like everything she does is like calculated to betray him. And then she falls in love with him and we're all like, yay, Lara.
But wait, he's like just too nice, right? He's like the nicest man on earth who like adores her and she could do no wrong. And it's like, oh yeah, is it this book that she kills the sister? Or is it the beginning of the second?
I think it's at the end of this book. It's at the end of this book she kills her sister because her sister comes back, one of them, and it turns out she knew all along about this plot.
Yeah. She snaps her neck and he's like, who are you? And then he's like, I will save you anyways. Run away.
But I mean, he loves her. He truly freaking loves her.
If you saw your husband snap somebody's neck, his brother's neck or her sister's neck, would you be like?
But honestly, she was such a bitch, and she was trying to get like. Honestly, this part did not bug me. You know, I'm pro murder in certain situations.
All right,
but there's other things that I would not have forgiven. Like, but I feel like. When he asked her, when she came to him and they finally started like an actual real relationship when they were kissing and actually getting together for real, which is when she decided not to betray Ithacana, when she tried to destroy all the letters. I feel like if she at that point would have said, look, I've been brainwashed, and he knows this about her. Like, I have made plans to harm your country, and I did it by, you know, writing in invisible ink on your correspondence. So please make sure they're all destroyed, because I don't want to do that anymore, and I trust you to, you know, not kill me for this information or whatever, you know. I feel that if she would have just said it and explained it to him, then either he could have stopped the letter from going to her father and giving him the plan, or they could have made like there could have also been a nice twist of the story if she would have been honest with him and told him the strategy for invasion. Then they could have actually blocked it. But I think in a way they had to, they kind of had to fall for the next story, for it to be free. Like, you had to kind of be like a phoenix and rise from the ashes, because this is what happens in book 2, where they actually make actual more stable alliances, and the country is the Ithacanians are going to be free to leave, which they were not before. So they were basically, just because you're not in a cage doesn't mean you're not in a prison, kind of thing, which was what they talked about a lot. Like, just because they were keeping the secrets of the bridge so tightly that no one was allowed to leave, and they weren't allowed to do anything, the Ithacanians. Like, yeah, they had some free time, but most of the time they had to fight, and they all had to be soldiers, and it was not a life. And this was a very much a theme throughout this book. It's like, what is a life, you know? You need to be able to make your choices, and so on and so forth. Otherwise, it's just a glorified prison kind of thing. Anyways, very good book.
Do you want to know what my one note was?
Oh, sorry. Yes. No, I don't care. No.
It is so irrelevant. It's hilarious.
All right. What's your one note?
Silas is the...
You talk about Silas? Your one note is about Silas is Lara's king
Evil dad.
The king of America. Yeah.
Silas is the perfect evil man's name.
It is. It's true. But Silas, it's like, yeah.
And I was like, wow, every time I even read his name once, I'm like, evil.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a few of those names. Like Silas, there's, God, I can't think of it, but it was the bad guy's name in a lot of like the Vampire Diaries shows and stuff.
Damon?
Like,
No,
it feels like it started with an M. Anyways, I might remember it another time.
Malachi is always the bad guy.
Malachi, that's the one. Always. Anyways, Lucius,
and Lucian.
Anything that's close to Lucifer
is a bad guy name.
And
but it's not a super good bad guy name.
Yeah.
I immediately think this guy's gonna fuck up some shit.
So it turns out, and I was really angry with you there for a couple of days when I realized that there was gonna be more books in this series, and I thought you were gonna leave me in a
raving at me. I'm like, wait a second,
I
did not write these.
It's on the Claire situation, leaving me on a cliffhanger. I was very scared. But then it turns out there are more books in the series. They're still coming out.
Yes.
Book 3 will be out, I think, later this year or early next year. But it's not about Lara and Aaron. It's about other people in the same universe.
I love it when they do that too. I love expanding the universe and getting to know more of the characters that you liked and or didn't like so much in the books too.
For sure. So this was The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen, and we say definitely recommend.
For sure, read it. It's so friggin' good. We read it. We flew through these books, both of them, because we liked them so much. And don't look at the cover. Just open the book and read.
Just get like the ebook where you don't even have to see the cover every time you open it. Like, don't look at the cover. Just look at the book.
It doesn't have anything to do with the characters in the book. So leave the cover behind and read this awesome book.
And now we're moving on to our next book, which you already don't like.
I can't read it anymore.
And we've chosen this book because it's Suicide Prevention Month, this month, September. And this is an important topic because suicide sucks.
I mean, mental health.
Don't do it.
Like, mental health awareness is something that is coming to the forefront now that has been such a hidden subject for so long. Like, people don't want to burden other people with their, like, inner emotions and feelings. And so they internalize until it becomes too big of a problem. And then other people are just shocked.
Yep.
when they decide to end their life because, you didn't, like, it wasn't an environment, definitely even just 10 years ago, to share your mental illness, your mental health, like, illnesses.
So take care of your mental health, and if you feel like you need support, please reach out, because there's always people around that want to help you and support you, and there's lots of help and services to have to get wherever you live if you have thoughts of self-harm or suicide. So you should definitely seek help.
And if you think no one will understand you, you're not alone. Everyone thinks no one will understand them, but there's always somebody, and more than you know, have experiences with mental health issues too. So talk to anybody. Talk to your fucking mailman.
Just reach out and you will get help for sure.
Yeah.
So the book we chose to read is called The Last Time We Say Goodbye, and it's by Cynthia Hand. And there's 2 different covers for this book.
Okay.
There's this one, which I don't think we have in ours.
No, I haven't seen this.
This one is like a silhouette of a girl, which
it's
orange, and there's the little post-it notes around, and it just says "The Last Time We Say Goodbye." And the other one,
beautiful cover.
Yeah, and the other one is the mirror with the post-it note that just says the title, "The Last Time We Say Goodbye."
This looks like more dreary. This looks like it's going to be a super sad book. The other book looks like it's going to be a thinking book.
Yeah. So just based on this cover, would you pick it up?
I would pick up the first orange one. Don't think I would pick up the one with the mirror post-it, because I would be like, it's going to be heavy.
Yeah. I would agree with you. Yeah. I think the orange cover is much better. So this book is about Alexis. She's in high school. She's in her last year of high school. She's going to go off to college next year. And this book is part her telling the story, part her writing in her journal that her therapist, Dave, has given her to help her express her feelings.
I love that she just calls him Dave the whole time.
Yeah. So Alexis' mother believes that she's depressed, but Alexis does not want to take medication for it because she already feels numb, so she doesn't need to numb her feelings. So therefore Dave suggests the journal, but Alexis is skeptical to this because she's not really a writer. She doesn't really care for books and writing and stuff. She likes maths and logics, and she accepts facts, and the fact is that her brother killed himself 7 weeks ago, her younger brother Tyler. And he was a couple of years younger than her, so he was about 16. And Alexis is struggling. Her mom's not doing well either. She cries a lot, she drinks a lot. And the new thing now is that Alexis' mom believes that Tyler is still in the house. She feels like she can smell his cologne, and she feels like his presence is there. Alexis doesn't believe this at all.
But she gets spooked
But then she too starts experiencing these, getting enveloped in his scent, and also she starts seeing him. Alexis is, most of the time she's numb, but occasionally she feels like she gets a hole in her chest, and she can't move or think until it passes. And her doctor, her therapist, thinks that these are panic attacks. So since her brother's death, we should call it what it is. It's very important in this book. She talks a lot about calling it what it is. She has pushed all of her friends away. She broke up with her boyfriend. She feels that her friends just want her to break down and cry so they can be the shoulder to cry on, and they could help her, support her, and be through this. But this is not what she feels like she wants to do or can do right now. And her parents are divorced. Her dad has a new partner, Megan. Alexis does not want to talk about her when they're having dinners. The dinners are awkward with her dad, and she usually meets him after her sessions with Dave, which is like once a week. And Tyler, her little brother, left a note, which honestly, if anyone, I banned suicide in this house. I literally sat my kids down and I told them that you're not allowed to kill themselves. And if they leave me a note like this, they will destroy me. Because he leaves a post-it note for his mother that says, "Sorry, Mom, I was below empty," before he kills himself. And if I got this note, I could not deal. It would not be. I could not. No. He shoots himself in their garage. And obviously predictioning what's going to happen in this book is a little bit hard because it's a sensitive subject, it is a difficult subject, but I am hoping that this will be a story of healing where Alexis and her family will find what they need to move on with their lives and keeping Tyler in their hearts and forgiving him and themselves for this situation. This is what I'm hoping.
Yeah, I think my challenge with this book is that I've had so much suicide around in my life. Most recently, my best friend growing up, her sister committed suicide. Mm-hmm. And from just seeing, even through social media and like small glimpses of how she's handling it, she's like being such an amazing like forefront of strength for everybody. Mm-hmm. And in an understanding way where it was her sister was in a dark place for so long and now she's in the light. And I love this like contrast look at it. But on the other side of things, it affects everybody around you once you're gone, other than you, of course. And it's long-lasting for the rest of their lives. Mm-hmm. When I told you yesterday or a couple of days ago, when I was younger, my sister's best friend committed suicide. And she was like a sister to us. And it was really strange being young. Like I think I was 13 or something. Mm-hmm. Being young and her dying in a way where she had taken her life. And I think I was angry. I think I'm still angry. And I'm not so sure that like throughout this book, it would be nice to be able to have closure in a way where it's like, now we can move on. But I'm not so sure that when somebody dies, it's so easy to just move on from something that is so like still open. Because when somebody kills themselves, there's like questions that come with it. When somebody dies from cancer, you have a lot of time to...
And then you can hate cancer.
Yeah, you hate cancer. Exactly.
Your loved one.
And when somebody dies from a car crash, you blame everyone else in the car around them, mm-hmm. or from alcohol, or from, there's all these other things to blame. But when it's suicide, it's only that person.
Yeah.
And then you try to place blame on everybody else around, and including yourself. Yeah. Like, oh, I should have done something. I could have talked to them.
Could have helped. And
it's not always like...
But I think at the end of the day, suicide prevention is very important. And I read somewhere that if you attempt suicide and your attempt is thwarted, a lot of the time you don't attempt it again.
Yeah.
So it's... And also that it's... A lot of them are very planned, but many are kind of spur of the moment things too, where you just feel so bad in that moment that you don't see a way out, and this is where you just take action, and these are the situations where if you're stopped, then you probably won't get there again. It's the planned ones, the ones that are trying again and again and again. These are the ones that are much harder to...
And I think in those cases, at least what I've seen in and around my life, the ones that are so super planned are the ones that have like PTSD or things like really deep traumas. And then you understand sort of more at the end.
But I mean, it is hard to understand. It's hard to understand how you can be in such a dark place where you really see no other way out. And I think this is, at the end of the day, this is what it is. Because you don't commit suicide if you think there's another way. But it is exceptionally difficult for everyone who's left behind, who has to deal with this. And it is close friends and relatives issue in a way more than it's yours, because you're dead and gone if you commit suicide. But everyone else has to deal with it and has to process and has to move on. And I mean, it is a difficult subject, and it is so important that we look after our mental health and that we do reach out if we feel any kind of thoughts of self-harm or suicidal thoughts, because even if it's hard in that moment to think about the people around you, they're still going to be very much affected by your choices. So...
I know. It's so tough. I mean, like, I'm sitting here, like, with this, like, deep inner thought. And there's so many things that can and also cannot be done.
Yeah.
When it comes to self-harm and things like that. But the main thing is to just try.
Yeah, to try and to realize that suicide is... It's never it's never the answer. It's never the right choice. It's never the way out, and it's not going to be the stop to whatever it is. It's going to be a beginning for others, if nothing else, for the people that you love. Anyways,
don't kill yourself. Thanks
don't kill yourself.
Listening.
I'm banning it. I've done it in my house. I'm doing it here. Yes. You're all banned.
Yes, you're all banned also from killing yourself.
Yeah,
that's great. I'm also gonna make this a ban in my household too.
It's a great ban.
Talk about shit.
My kids are like, "Mom, you're crazy." I'm like, yeah, but I feel very strongly about this.
Whenever my littlest one says anything about death, I always say to her, "You're staying here." Like a threat.
Yep.
You stay here. You are welcome here. To all my kids.
Anyways, so this is our heavy book of the month. We only do one heavy book this month. We will be back on lighter books next week with our next choice. But if you want to read this book with us, it's The Last Time We Say Goodbye by Cynthia Hand. And, bring your tissues, your Kleenex. You'll need them. This is going to be a rough ride. I won't say happy reading. I'll say get
melancholy.
Melancholy reading. Talk to you next week.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Bye. We'd Rather Be Reading is an original podcast by Jerrica and Leah Sanford. The music for The Penguins, written and performed by David Allred from the album The Transition, courtesy of Erased Tapes. Please check him out on Spotify and check us out on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram at We'd Rather Be Reading and on Twitter at We'd Rather Read. You can also email us at we'dratherbereadingthepod@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.